Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Bree and I like to talk about books. I'm coming at you on Wednesday, February 18th, because I tried to film this little clip yesterday, and upon getting into my editing software on my computer to put together a little vlog I made last week, I realized that I had several clips where my microphone failed to connect to the receiver. So yeah, if you saw that vlog, you probably might have noticed that a couple of my clips were just straight phone sound, which, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's a learning experience, right? I'm still pretty new to the YouTube scene. So anyway, coming at you guys with a reading update because I spent the long Valentine's weekend with my boyfriend and I didn't get any reading done. I did not read one page, which means that as of right now, I am 4 or 5 days behind on Moby Dick, which is fine. It's fine. I caught up a little bit last night, but I was exhausted by the time I got in bed, and as I think I've mentioned this before, this isn't a book you want to try to read when you're tired. At least that's been my experience. Anytime I try to read this when I am tired, I will doze and almost drop the book on my face. So we don't want that. I'm going to try to catch up on it some tonight because I'm actually going to have another long weekend coming up that I don't know how much reading I'm going to get done. So if I can at least catch up, that would be great. So that's the one I'm reading and not hating, but also not loving at the moment anyway. I'm about halfway through. It could get better. I've got high hopes that it will. Another book I started just a couple of days ago. Yesterday? Was it yesterday? I started Tradwife, which I had never heard of before I saw it in the Book of the Month picks for February, and it was not on my TBR for this month. However, if you're also a mood reader, you'll know that sometimes you set a TBR, and then when it comes time for the next book on your TBR stack, you're just like, I don't think that's the vibes. And then you see something else on your shelf, and it is the vibes, which is exactly what happened here. Especially because it's got the pretty Valentine's Day festive colors, and it drew my eye. And also, I mean, I haven't been on YouTube very long, but if you happened to come over here from Instagram and have been following me on there for a while, you will know that I love me some horror stories, which is what this is. I mean, if this had the cover on it, it's behind me. So if you don't know about this one already, we have a tradwife influencer who is very desperate for a baby, but it just isn't happening with her husband. She has the perfect life otherwise, perfect house, perfect husband. The only thing she's missing is a baby, and she thinks that this is what's going to make her life absolutely perfect, and it's going to fill in any gaps of anything she's missing, and it's going to, in her mind, make her social media profiles blow up with followers. This kind of jumps into a Rosemary's Baby type story. Yeah, if you've read Rosemary's Baby, I guess, or if you've seen the movie, but for me the book was a little bit more difficult to read just because of how the main character is treated throughout the entire story by literally everybody around her, especially her husband. This one is probably going to make you mad in the same way, but there are other things in this one that didn't make me quite as mad. And I mean, I'm not going to get super into it yet because I'm not quite done. I think I actually started this yesterday and I'm already about 3/4 of the way through. I don't have very much left to go. I'm really hoping to finish it tonight, especially because every time I pick it up, I have a really hard time putting it down. It's a good one, guys. So far, I would definitely recommend it. Hopefully I'll get to the end tonight and then I can share my final thoughts on that. And so far it's looking like a good review from me. I'm enjoying it and it's definitely interesting. Like I said, it has Rosemary's Baby vibes, but it's definitely different enough that it's not predictable almost at all. So anyway, I think that's about it for the updates right now. I'm going to be doing one of those self-care nights. I'm going to paint my nails again. I think I'm going to go for one of my other lighter kind of pink shades that I just recently bought. One of the other holographics. I know that the lighting's not great in here. You can kind of see my holographic hot pink nails at the moment. So yeah, I may film some of that process later, or I may just show you guys the end product. I will see you guys very soon. Hey everyone, coming at you on Monday the 23rd, I think it is, of February. And I actually have some reading updates for you guys. I have finished 2 books since we last spoke. I think I did mention both of them at the end of my last vlog that I made, but I had just started both of them, so I didn't really talk about them a lot. The first book that I have finished very recently is Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer, which I got in February's Aardvark book box. Now, I didn't really know what to expect when I picked this one out because I hadn't heard of it before I saw it in the options for February, and I hadn't even heard of the author before, but I picked it out because it was the horror pick for February, and if you guys have been following my Instagram for any amount of time, you know that horror is my jam, so I decided to give it a go. Guys, this book was wild. Absolute wild ride. You go into it and you're probably going to get irritated right away just with the content. We have a 24-year-old tradwife influencer named Camille. She's married at this point. Her husband is a few years older than her, and she's already an influencer, but the one thing she is missing to perfect this tradwife picturesque life that all of her other influencer friends have is a baby. And when she can't get one from her husband, she ends up making a deal with what she convinces herself is an angel. I mean, you know, we can see the hand on the belly there. Looks definitely angelic. Rosemary's Baby vibes with this one, but better. And I don't mean that in like a literary sense. I mean it in the way that it ends is so much more satisfying than Rosemary's Baby was. Although, a parallel, I mean, something you're going to notice if you've read Rosemary's Baby or seen the movie, the men and some of the women in this book are going to royally piss you off. At least they did for me. I mean, like Rosemary's Baby, right? Like, where are the people who are supposed to be protecting this woman? Anyway, I so recommend this one. It was much more complex than I was expecting. And just, I don't want to give too much away, honestly, because you don't see a lot of this stuff coming, and that is exactly the way that it should be. I 100% recommend this. The next book that I have finished since we last spoke is Howl's Moving Castle, and I listened to it on audiobook, and the audiobook narrator is just a delight. I loved it so much. She does different voices for each character, and some of them even have different accents, and it was just, I mean, if you guys know the story already, we have Sophie, who works in a hat shop. She's like 17 or something like that at the beginning of the story. And she manages to irk the very powerful Witch of the Waste, who then curses her and turns her into an old woman, like 80s, 90s. So Sophie goes in search of the wizard Howl and his moving castle, even though Howl is rumored to eat the hearts of young girls. And so all the girls are warned to stay away from him. She goes in search of him to help her lift the curse, and everything rolls on from there and gets pretty wacky and just very, very wonderful, very magical. This is a beautiful story. I love it so, so much. It makes me so happy. It's really different from the movie. So if you've seen the movie and haven't read the book, I urge you to check out the book because there's a lot of differences, a lot of things that I honestly wish were in the movie. However, I also love the movie. I think I love them each separately, as separate entities. That is Howl's Moving Castle. Love it so much. This is my second time reading it. 100% recommend this if you've not already read it. I also started Mary by... Who the heck wrote Mary? Nat Cassidy. I started Mary by Nat Cassidy on my Kindle over the weekend because I was out of town and I didn't have a lot of physical books with me. I didn't have any physical books with me. I took Moby Dick, but you know. I'm not very far into that one yet, but I've heard really, really good things about it and I'm excited. I'm excited for that one. I have read only one other Nat Cassidy book. It was When the Wolf Comes Home. I read that last year and loved it. So good, so cool. Such a unique idea. I really want that one to be made into a movie. Just like that as a movie, just Moby Dick. I got so behind on this. I read a bunch of it today and I finally caught up because what's today? I was about 10 days behind on this, which was a lot, but I am finally fully caught up and I'm going to try and stay that way so that I don't have to read huge chunks of this at a time just because it takes me a while. I am liking it more, however, at this point because we're into some more action. There's more happening with the whale hunting, which is rough to read. It's violent. Violence against animals, don't love that. It's still really interesting. I'm still having a hard time with the way it's written, but that's gonna be a thing for the rest of it, I'm sure. Even me, as somebody who has been obsessed with whales and sea creatures ever since I can remember, since I was a little kid, I have a hard time when Melville kind of goes off into his historical or scientific or philosophical, I don't want to say rants, do I want to say rants? Musings, perhaps. Yeah. Even as someone who loves whales, and I love all things scientific about whales, I've been obsessed with them forever. Still difficult. Still difficult. Not super fun. I am enjoying it more. And, I mean, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. That is all I have for you guys right now. Oh, I was actually going to mention, my boyfriend and I over the weekend, we watched Rental Family, Brendan Fraser's new movie, and it was so good, guys. Like, it left me kind of speechless when it was over, and I found myself, like, even now, we watched it like 2 nights ago, I just want to be able to watch it again for the first time. It was so good. Like, such a good one. Besides that, I don't have a lot else going on. Apologies if you can see my bare mattress pad over here. I am doing laundry and washing my bedding at the moment, so I hope that you guys are having a lovely day whenever it is that you are watching this, and I will check back in later. Hey everyone, it is Thursday. I had to think about what day it was for a second there. It is Thursday, and I hope you guys are all doing great. I do have a couple of slight reading updates for you guys, but the main reason that I wanted to hop on right now is to show off the tattoo that I got a couple of days ago, because I'm super stoked about it. I added some clips already, so you've already seen probably a nicer version of what I'm about to show you. However, here is the full effect on my arm. It's the same artist that has done most of the other ones you see here, except for these guys. These two are pretty old, but all of the others have been the same artist. Yes, if you have seen the new Del Toro Frankenstein movie, then you will know exactly what my tattoo is. If you haven't, it might look a little strange and interesting. Also, if you haven't seen the new Del Toro Frankenstein, I highly, highly recommend it. It has been one of my favorite movies that I've seen in ever. Basically, 10 out of 10 recommend. And, I mean, obviously I like it. I got a tattoo inspired by it, so. But yeah, I got this 2 days ago. We are still in the ointment phase, which is why you probably saw just a bunch of glare when I showed it to you just now, but I think I got a pretty good clip while I was still in the shop. Of course, now that I got another tattoo, I've gotten the bug again, and I just want to go get another one as soon as this one heals. I really want to fill in kind of the gap right here in my arm. Maybe with like a couple of smaller things, or one smaller thing, and now I'm trying to figure out what would be my vibe that would fit there. Little gap fillers. If you guys have any cool ideas that go with my vibe, drop them in the comments, because I am looking for inspiration. It's so cool. I love it so much. Anyway, moving on. I have managed to stay caught up with Moby Dick. I didn't actually read anything on Tuesday because that was my tattoo appointment day. I left early from work and went straight to the tattoo shop and was there for a few hours. Went to dinner, came home, it was very late, went to bed. So, no reading was done that day, but I caught up last night instead of letting myself get like 10 days behind again, because that was ridiculous. And we're doing good. Like I said, at this point in the book, a lot more action is happening with the wailing. However, our narrator Ishmael still does tend to digress and go off on these tangents where he's like talking about the exact shape of the whale's skull from every different possible direction and all of the dimensions, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. Some of you might be. I have to really hold my focus during those parts, or else I find that I've gone a paragraph or more and have retained nothing. But we're chugging along. I am also reading Mary by Nat Cassidy on my Kindle, which I don't actually think I've really showed off my Kindle on here just yet. I got it about a year ago, a little over a year ago. I bought this Kindle, but I just redid all the stickers, gave it a cool little refresh, and I am absolutely in love with it. It feels so much more like me. But yes, I'm reading Mary by Nat Cassidy, and I think I mentioned before that I have read one other Nat Cassidy book, which was When the Wolf Comes Home. That is in fact incorrect. I have read 2 other Nat Cassidy books. I also read Nestlings last year, which I liked but didn't love. And if I'm being quite honest, at the moment, I don't remember why I didn't love it. Anyway, moving on. Like I said, I liked it, and I really liked When the Wolf Comes Home. And I'm really, really liking Mary so far. I'm almost halfway through. I'm maybe like a little over a third of the way through. It is wild, and I have no idea what's going on yet, and I love that. I love that I can't just easily predict what's going on and what's going to happen. But yeah, super interesting. I'm loving it so far. That might be the last book I'm going to get through for February, which makes me sad because I was really hoping that I could get through this one kind of fast and then squeeze in one more. But at this point, I don't see that happening because today is the 26th, and after today, there are only 2 more days left of February. However, I'm really excited for March to start because there are 2 books coming out by 2 of my auto-buy authors have new books coming out in March. Joanna Van Veen. I'm unsure, I might need to look that one up, is releasing her third, I believe it's her 3rd book, and I absolutely cannot wait. Her first 2 books they were both in my top 10 from last year. And then C.G. Drews, as I've talked about in a couple previous videos, I read Hazelthorn in December and Don't Let the Forest In last month. Was it this month? Very recently. Absolutely love both of them. 5 stars. They have a new book. I want to say it's their first adult horror novel coming out in March. So 2 auto-buy author books in 1 month. That is so exciting and I cannot wait. I'm really hoping one or both of them might show up in Book of the Month or Aardvark, but we must wait to find out. Anyway, I think that might be all I have for you guys right now. Oh, I also changed my nail polish again. I don't know how good the lighting is in here. This one is called Shattered Glass by Mooncat, and it's very color shifty and the word I want for what this really, really sparkly, there's a word. It is simply evading me at this moment. Anyway, it's one of those that like all of these colors and sparkles come to life when it's in the sun, especially. Gorgeous. I love it so much. But yeah, that's about all I've got going on at the moment, and I will see you guys later.